Friends, good morning. So this morning we have in our first reading this marvelous section from Paul's letter to the Corinthians, his ode to love. 2 weekends ago I had a wedding. This couple chose it as their second reading. This Saturday I've got a wedding. The couple has it for their second reading. This is a classic wedding text, right? And chances are, I know all of us have been to weddings. Chances are you probably heard this at a wedding. Who had this at their wedding? Anybody? Raise your hand. All right, there's a few of us. Okay. All right, here's what I want to do. There's so much that we could say about this, but I just want to direct our attention to something that I think gets easily lost because of it just comes at the very beginning and you kind of fall into the beauty and poetry of the rest of it. So Paul's describing love, agape in the Greek. Agape was this kind of love that it was a word that the Christians took to themselves to describe God's love for us. It's this self-emptying, descending, self-giving kind of love. That's what this is. It's a descending kind of love. And of all the adjectives that Paul could have used to first reach for to describe this love, of all the words, the first word he uses is that love is patient. Love is patient. Those of you who are married, maybe you're widowed or widower, do you think that's accurate? Yeah, love is patient. It has to be patient, right? Why is love patient? Because God is patient. He's immensely patient. He's infinitely patient. He's shockingly patient. And thank God that He's patient. God, thank you that you are patient. Most of all with me. God's love is patient. You know, from a cosmological standpoint, He's unbelievably patient. You know, we have a God who breathed the universe into being some 14-ish billion years ago. It was the research of Father Georges Lemaitre, who was a Belgian priest who was the one who formulated the Big Bang Theory. That we have a God who begins this immense cosmos so long ago and allows it to develop ever so slowly, right? He allows the stuff of the universe to be cooked up in the cores of stars, right? Nuclear fusion, that's what happens in the cores of stars, is these atoms fuse together and they form heavier elements, and then when those stars die out, millions upon millions of years later, they explode and spill their elemental guts over the universe, and then they form new stars and planets and coalesce, and that's where the ingredients came from that make up everything that we see. Over this insane crock pot approach of the Lord to the universe, this slow cooker approach. We have a God who's so patient. And when you look at the deep history of humanity, go back to Genesis, we see Adam and Eve in the beginning selling our race into slavery to powers against which we were helpless, right? In the fall. Now look, God could have, right in that instant, God could have sent His Son right then and there to set things right. But He didn't. He didn't. He brought humanity through this long, slow pedagogy of trust, because that was the problem. It was a failure of trust. How do you get trust back? It takes time. It takes a long time. We lost our trust in Him in the garden, and He chose the route of patiently wooing humanity back into this relationship, back into a posture of trust. That's what the whole Old Testament is. It's God's school of trust. And for you and me individually, thank God He's so patient with how we are often so fickle. We don't often hear this Eucharistic prayer, but Eucharistic prayer 4 in the preface, one of the lines in the preface is, time and again you offered them covenants. Time and again, there's this long, slow invitation into this school of trust and taught them to look forward to salvation. There's this relentless pursuit of our hearts. And when you think of your own story, right, how patient has God been with you? When I think of my own story, how patient God is with me. I often hear in the confessional how oftentimes people say something like how frustrated they are with themselves that they're here again saying the same things that they've always said. Like it's just like you can come with like the cassette or the CD and just say, it's the same stuff, put it in, hit play, it's the same stuff from last time. And we get worried that God's gonna run out of patience with us. Like there's gonna come a time, surely, where he's like, all right, listen, you've had like 1,000 million chances. That's what we think, but that's not who he is. He never grows weary or impatient of us. Like he's never tapping his toe or rolling his eyes or frustrated that we're not getting it. He's a father, and he knows that we're these terribly wounded, slow to learn babies. And he delights in our baby steps. I'll put it that way. He delights in our baby steps because he's got the heart of a father. Like in our striving to do good and to be holy and to be virtuous, it's like we're like a 3-year-old scribbling a family portrait, like the stick figures of mom and dad and baby brother and baby sister. Everyone's got the gigantic head and the little arms, what I'm talking about? Those little drawings. And what do mom and dads do with those drawings? Like, I'm putting it on the fridge, right? I'm putting it on the fridge. Like your baby steps, your fickle attempts to be holy and to be good, all of those things, he hangs them all on the fridge of heaven. God is patient with us first and foremost, first and last of all, because he is mercy. He is mercy. He is mercy and love itself. Love is patient. That's some pretty good news. Amen.